NFL Week 8 this Sunday. You guys know every podcast before Sunday, we're going to give our best picks, our best bets for Sunday. Last week was pretty good. You know, I did great on the Detroit and Lions game.
Hey, Riv, you killed it last night.
I told you I had a great
Riv did his thing with the Josh Allen props, just taking everything over. Now, Mojo Fantasy right now, currently, I don't think they have 49ers and Bengals lines up. I wish they did because I would love to get Riv's vibe picks on that game. You know, I think we need to make that a segment every single show.
Ribs vibes.
What are Ribs vibes pick of the week?
I like that, man. That sounds good. But what games do we have, man? Let's talk. Let's talk about that Dallas and that Rams game, man. Let's lock in because it could be a lot of fun offense that game. A lot of stars, man. Cooper, CeeDee, you got Matthew Stafford, Micah Parsons. Yeah, I think I'm blanking on somebody. No, I'm not. That is the stars.
They are the stars. Listen, Rams and Cowboys, Mojo Fantasy, Week 8 props. Cowboys off the bye week. I think Tony Pollard has a big-time day. Over 67.5 rushing yards. He hasn't hit that over in the last 3 games. But I think they need to implement him more. Mike McCarthy in offseason said they want to run the ball more. I think in this game, he's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to take advantage of it. And then I got CeeDee Lamb, the other star on the Cowboys. Over 5.5 receptions. He had 7 against the Chargers. And off that bye, I think it's going to be a point of emphasis to get him the ball. So Pollard and CeeDee, those are my 2 guys I'm going with.
I'm a piggyback because, like you mentioned, Dallas is coming off a bye. And Dehls, what do I do, man?
Over.
And I'm going over on CeeDee everything, man. It's over on his receptions, 5.5, and over on his yards, 65.5. CeeDee, coming off of before the bye, he had a great week, against the Chargers. And I think CeeDee, man, he's been getting a lot of just the Cowboys offense in general this year. And I think he's going to have a big game. I think there's nobody in the Rams that can stop him. And he looks like he's going to get in that mode, and that's one of my boys. This is for sure 100% a vibes pick.
I'm fine with that. CeeDee Lamb, he had his get-right game against the Chargers. Him and Dak Prescott, honestly. And Dak Prescott's line of passing yards, 244.5, that definitely is intriguing to me, and one that I feel as if I think we need to start to see Dak be a little bit more aggressive of pushing the ball downfield. We saw it a little bit versus the Chargers. Definitely, you look at that Jets game, and that's probably his cleanest, most efficient game of the season. But where there was a handful of opportunities with Dallas that you'd think that they would want back, I think for the majority we saw that offense look the second most cohesive that we've seen this season, going up against the Rams secondary. I know Spoon's definitely been a breakout player for them this season, but outside of that, there's no one really that if I'm Dallas, I'm over the top worried about. So I'm going over on Dak Prescott's passing yards, and then over on Cooper Kupp's receiving. I'm torn between the receptions and the receiving yards. Receiving yards, 84.5. I just think with last week, the way that we saw Cooper Kupp limited the most that I've seen in the last 2 years. I know that we've seen him injured a little bit in that time, but 84.5 going up against this Cowboys secondary that has been underwhelming since Trayvon has gone down. I feel very confident that Cooper can have a bounce-back game.
Next game, Texans at Panthers. Texans at Panthers battle the first overall and second overall picks. Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud. Rev, what are you telling me about this? What's your vibes for this game? What's your vibe picks?
And I'm telling you that the best quarterback in his draft is going to have a great day. And it starts with him going over on the passing touchdowns. 1.5. We going over, baby. C.J. Stroud has been one of the best quarterbacks in this league. Obviously, he's not up there yet. He's a rookie. You're going to have to see how he adjusts. But so far, up until this point, he's been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He has caught everybody off guard. He has been elite for this team. And Houston has been really good. And I think that's something you want to see. And then the Panthers have been one of the worst teams in this league. Bryce has been a little bit slow to start. And I think C.J. Stroud can have a big day. So I'm going over on his passing touchdowns, 1.5. And Mr. Dalton Schultz, who's hit this line 4 times out of 6, the last 3 games he's hit this line. He's been a bit of a safety blanket for CJ. Over 31.5 receiving yards. Y'all know where I'm going. It's never under in my life. I'm going over.
Dalton Schultz, anytime touchdowns. He scored a touchdown in 3 straight weeks. Let's make it 4. My big line of the week is going to be Dameon Pierce, 56.5 rushing, going up against Carolina, one of the worst rush defenses in the National Football League. honestly, any matchup I see versus Carolina, that running back is going to be one of those that I'm looking at that I want to put some splash on. And Damian Pierce at 56.5, he should hit that one.
I'm going to go with Riv on this one. I got the quarterback that's better having a better day. And we also have to recognize that he's in a better situation. Don't want to get too, above in the negative energy. I'm Ted Lasso today, so I'm very positive. CJ Stroud over 217.5 passing yards. I'm going to go under Bryce Young, 232.5 passing yards. And you know what? I feel like this wide receiver has had a bit of a fluky start to the season. And I think he comes back down to earth, and it starts with this game. That's Adam Thielen. I'm going under on his receiving yards at 66.5.
He doesn't watch the fantasy reaction, and it's showing me.
Thielen's been eating.
You caught him?
No, he's done.
Steven Nelson is one of them ones.
I need it to be understood that Adam Thielen is going to get force-fed.
He's the only one that gets the ball.
He's the only person on that team that does anything positive as a skill position. He is.
Thielen is a garbage time stats.
Hey, listen, they're going to be in garbage time.
What if I told you guys that you had the opportunity this weekend to place 4 picks on the first touchdown scorer across 4 games, and you could win $10,000 if you got all of them right?
I wouldn't fucking believe you if my life depended on it.
Mojo Fantasy got that available.
You're kidding.
Mojo Fantasy is the only DFS app that has this contest. You predict the first touchdown score across 4 contests. So now, Drew, do you got any first touchdown scores that you going with?
Here's the thing. Last week, I felt uber confident that Jalen Waddle would be that guy to get into the end zone. Going up against the Eagles, he had the back injury. It was unfortunate that was the case, that he's just been in and out of the lineup. However, going up against New England, I think the game plan is going to be obvious if I am New England. Do everything in my power to limit Tyreek Hill. And the first time they matched up, they were probably the only team to really, quote-unquote, limit Tyreek the way that they did, but he still got into the end zone. I'm going back to my pick last week. I believe Jalen Waddle is the first touchdown in this game. They need to get him going in this offense, and I understand that he's been banged up a little bit, but he's ready. He's full go. I'm anticipating him to get into the end zone first.
Who are 3 more you're going with?
I'm going with Damian Pierce versus Carolina. That matchup is way too juicy, and all they need to do is just get near the vicinity of the red zone. I think that they can hand the ball off to a Damian Pierce and get there. 2 other ones, I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley versus the Steelers. It might have to be a point of emphasis to get him going. I'm a big fan of Joey Porter and what he's been able to do so far this season. But I think that with moving Calvin Ridley around, I anticipate that Calvin can be a touchdown scorer and will be the first touchdown scorer in that game. And number 4, the last touchdown that I'm going to go with, I'm going to go George Kittle versus the Cincinnati Bengals. We've seen George Kittle, especially with Deebo Samuel, be a favorite target regardless, but I think that if Sam Darnold's going to be at the quarterback spot, he's going to try and go to a reliable option. And Ayuk has been fantastic in his own right, but going up against Cincinnati, I'm fully anticipating that George Kittle can have himself a ball game, and he gets the first touchdown.
Last week in Week 7, these picks would have won you the first touchdown contest. Lamar Jackson got the first touchdown, Desmond Ridder, Deontay Foreman, JSN, Darren Waller, and Cortland Sutton. A lot of guys that is hard to predict.
That's
outside
true.
of Lamar, but that was a rushing touchdown.
There we go.
I mean, Ridder, rushing touchdown, first time. So you know what? You got to get a little bit creative with these picks, but I don't have the balls to. So I'm going to go with the top guns. I'm going with Travis Kelce, KC versus Denver. I'm going with Garrett Wilson, our boy, versus the Giants. He's going to show out. With the Jets, Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, him and Charvarius Ward got a history of beef. I think Chase gets into the end zone first, and I'm going to go with a friend of the show, Austin Eckler, LAC. Good Chargers. I think he bounces back this week, gets the first touchdown.
Let me ask you a question. Would you think that if a team loses a player of Justin Jefferson caliber, their offense would miss a beat, right?
It
should, right? For sure. Well, Zay Flowers has been getting all the hype in the world, but another rookie over there in Minnesota has been doing his fucking thing. Shout out to Jordan Addison, man, who completely lit up the Niners defense. And that's my guy of the week. I'm going his first touchdown of the week against the Green Bay Packers. one of the most historic rivalries in that division. You know, Green Bay, Minnesota, they always go at it. And Kirk Cousins has been balling all year, looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'm going Jordan Addison for a big touchdown. You know, he's been electric this year. He's been great in the big play department. And he's been a sleeper in Offensive Rookie of the Year. He may not win it, but his name definitely deserves to get mentioned in it.
Mojo Fantasy is the only DFS app you can enter this contest, and this contest is completely free. $0, it's free, and you have a chance to win $10,000. There's no risk. Use code PAS and get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Shout out to Mojo Fantasy.